when you first got out of rehab, Maci said that she wanted you to pass the drug test.
Yeah, I've passed them for my lawyers and stuff, you know.
Maci doesn't have results because Maci doesn't ask. That's why Maci doesn't have results.
So, I mean, I told her I'd pay up 100 times for it, but she wasn't having it. So I guess that's why she doesn't have anything.
Hey guys, it's Katie from Without a Crystal Ball. Welcome back to my channel. Who doesn't like a little dad fight? Like dad bods having a dad bod fight. I'm kidding, but seriously. Teen Mom OG's sexiest dad, Taylor, and I mean sexy because of him standing up for his wife and son.
I'm glad you said that. Remember that.
Stop forcing.
Remember that.
A relationship on the child.
Went off on Larry Edwards, and he took it out on Larry because Ryan Edwards is seemingly too scared to interact with Taylor because he gets triggered. So, long story short, this has been 12 years in the making. For 12 long years, there has been this enduring tension between Maci and Jen and Larry as it relates to Ryan. She has a son named Bentley, and I know some of you are on the fence that you think that Maci could have equal parties, could be part of the problem here because she is exploiting her son by putting him on TV, and her show does paint her side of the story and not Ryan's, and some of you are empathetic with Ryan because of the fact that he has been dealing with his addiction. When it comes to kids, I will always side with the parent that is about to stand up for the kid, and I think Taylor did a good job. Now, some of you thought that it was embarrassing and you felt bad for Bentley because you thought that, you know, Bentley's gonna see this and he's gonna see his stepdad or dad fighting with his grandparents who he likely loves, and you think that, you know, it's unfortunate that Bentley would have to go through that.
This is not putting Bentley ahead of your guys' feelings.
You're right, but I'm sitting here, I just sit here and watch their piece of crap son.
We
call my
have
wife
been
an
there
evil
for
bitch.
Bentley.
And I actually don't disagree with that, but it's reality television and we can only deal with what we have at the time, and right now that's the fact that Taylor and Larry are fighting. And not to be silenced, Ryan Edwards went to his favorite tabloid, The Sun, to talk. You know, I feel like every time Edwards need to get something out and to disparage or get their side out, they run to the tabloids. Now, I have to be honest here. I understand what it has to be like to be on the other side of on a show like this, because hear me out on this, you might disagree, but on Teen Mom, the show is called Teen Mom. So the moms are always gonna have the more favorable storyline, except if you're Amber, because literally, how do you even paint a storyline for Amber that's positive?
Hard to grow up and be an addict, and it's very hard. And I want people to just have some
Anyways, the dads don't have their lives magnified in the same respect. So you don't get to see their lives, you don't get to see their side of the story. And if you do, it's edited and filtered into a way to spin it so it's positive for the mom, right? It's Teen Mom. Knowing that Maci has long been a favorite of producers and she's nearly always had a positive edit, you have to remember that Ryan has never really, in a way, had a chance. And he hasn't really done the fans or his son any favors. So it's kind of like a double-edged sword. Like, you're not helping yourself, Ryan. You don't have a chance, but you also aren't helping yourself. Like, do something, right? So Taylor is finally like, man up, dude. Like, man up. And he actually called him a piece of SHIT, and he called him a sorry excuse for a human. He called Larry a son of a bee, and he told Larry and Jen to stop making Bentley feel guilty and to put the kid first, okay? So knowing all of that, Larry also brought up that Taylor has this propensity to get mouthy. Now, when I spoke to Mackenzie Edwards, she had some of the same, said the same sentiment, that Taylor has this propensity to blow up behind the scenes. You've never seen it until you saw it there, but this was normal Taylor when it came to them, or their interactions with Taylor were not always positive, or they were explosive, which was why Ryan didn't want to go on the stage. Now, if you know that Taylor's going to be combative, but rightfully so, like, I feel like when you say, well, he's just going to be combative, so I'm not going to deal with it. If you keep not ignoring it, maybe he wouldn't be combative if you actually, like, put your son first, Ryan.
He's a 30-year-old that still needs his ass wiped. So he called me in a fit of rage.
Well,
screaming.
not to be one to stay quiet. Ryan talked to the son and had his own words for Taylor. Could you imagine if they actually just talked? And if Ryan actually did the right thing? Maybe things wouldn't be like this. But it's reality television and this is what we have. So here's what he had to say. He said, I think Taylor is a punk bitch.
Says that Ryan got arrested again. And it says that he was booked on violating probation.
Why do guys always use the B word like it's a bad thing? Like, why? Being a bitch is good. They're acting like being a bitch is not good. Like, they're acting like you're just such a girl. Okay, so Taylor's a punk bitch. I get it. But then he also had more things to say, which I thought was funny because his excuse for why Taylor had to come out like that was this, and I thought this was so ironic. He said, with Taylor losing his temper, he said, people do that because they feel incompetent, threatened, or less than whatever makes him feel that way. He could be like my 1-year-old that does stuff like that for attention. So he's basically saying that Taylor had a temper tantrum because he felt incompetent and threatened and less than. I don't know how you would feel incompetent, less than, or threatened by a dad that literally has never been there for his son, or incompetent, threatened, or less than somebody that hasn't held a steady job, that has been in and out of jail. I don't really know why that would be that. I thought that Taylor's anger was less to do with feeling incompetent and threatened, and more like daddy mode came on, and like Papa Bear. And when Papa Bear comes out, like, you don't hold back. Like, he's protecting his kid and he is doing what he feels is right for Bentley. Ryan always has a million excuses. He also said that he hasn't relapsed. So he insists that he is not actually in relapse. He says that he understands why they would think it based on his appearance. But he said that it's not the case.
I got it. So,
You know, I'm just tired of everybody kissing her ass.
So why does his appearance look so terrible? Ryan says this: there are many nights I would work late, so long, I would just sit down for like 15 to 20 minutes in the shop and nap for that long and get back at it. So he claims that while this was all being filmed, he was working and fabricating a buggy car for an off-road race. And because he was trying to get everything ready for the race and get this completely fabricated from the ground up, he wasn't sleeping a whole lot, wasn't taking care of himself very well, and he was just tired.
Sheer jam.
He said, I can see why he made the comment, but really I was just exhausted 99% of the time. I was staying up all night, then helping Mackenzie with the kids in the day. That's in between going back to the garage, building my buggy to try and get it done for King of the Hammers off-road race. So he's building this buggy from the ground up. Then during the day, that's at night. Then during the day, he said he's helping Mackenzie with the kids. And he says this: imagine hand building and fabricating everything you see on a car by yourself in a little less than a year. COVID ended up getting in the way too much and it didn't get done in time, but we will get it there next year. I wonder how COVID got in the way. Did it prevent him from getting parts maybe? I'm not sure. If he was just in his garage or going to his shop, I don't know. But anyways, COVID got in the way. Maybe they didn't have the race. His excuse that he looked like disheveled and messy was that he wasn't sleeping because he was building this buggy and he was doing it for this race, and he didn't get it done this year, but he is going to be getting it done for this next year. And he says, in regards to whether or not he's happy that he's no longer on the show, Ryan had this to say. He said, "We are so happy that we're no longer doing it. This is the happiest I've been since before I started taking painkillers. It makes me real happy to see my wife so happy, so I couldn't ask for much more." Now, if you remember, Mackenzie was saying that she really was struggling with anxiety and feeling just a lot of the hate that she would get from social media, and it was really hard for her to deal with that and have such a small part of the show. So she's dealing with all of this hate directed at Ryan. Everyone hates her. She's not really on the show that much. And I'm sure that is stressful. So I'm guessing getting rid of that will help her reduce some of that stress. I think isn't it weird that he said, "This is the happiest I've been since before painkillers"? But I guess when you're on painkillers, you don't feel a lot. So maybe that's what he means. Like, he finally feels like a sense of relief. Mackenzie's doing her thing with her business, and I'm starting my own fabrication business, building off-road race cars and racing them as well. So long story short, he says that they're going to be fine. He's going to do his business. Mackenzie's going to do her business. And he said the real reason why Maci got them fired is this. He says, "Maci is in fear that my mom and dad will start telling the truth. She will always fight to have us off the show." What do you think the truth is? I mean, you guys, I have to say that there is probably two sides to the story. But what dirt do they have on Maci? What could they possibly spill on Maci? Outside of the fact of you exploited our grandkid and my son. And they could equally say back to her, "No, you did it too because you were on the show with us." What are they going to bring up? That she's alienating Bentley? Maci already said that's not true. What are they going to bring up? That she drinks beer? I mean, everyone already says she drinks beer anyway. What are they going to do? What's the truth? I hate when people say that because I feel like that's such a narcissist thing to say. They know the truth. People that say that never actually give you the truth. They just want to leave that dangling carrot out there. There's some nefarious thing that we don't know about Maci, who's lived in the public eye for 12 years that we haven't suddenly uncovered, that she's managed to keep completely hidden from the public while also maintaining a completely public presence. You would think we would know the truth by now. That's just my 2 cents. So anyways, long story short, he's not high. He's not relapsed. He's making a buggy and being a dad with his dad bod and his dad hair. That's why he can't put a comb through his hair or get a haircut. He is really glad they got fired. Maci doesn't want them on the show because they know the truth, and Taylor's a punk bitch. What do you think about this? I'm actually really excited to see the result of this fight on the next episode, final section of the reunion. And I'm also waiting for Christina to join because I want to hear what she has to say about Amber being completely and utterly nodding out and a hot mess on her section of the reunion. What do you think? Tell me in the comments below. Bye, guys.